gentlemen, we've had as many speakers as I want to come forward now to speak on the mic briefly. So there's a queue here. If you get there, we'll try and get through as many of you as possible. But if you could stop coming up to me every 5 seconds and going, me please, me please, me please. Thank you. Hello everyone. Thank you for coming out today. It's fantastic to see quite so many people here. I want to say a few words because about a month or 2 months ago, I attended what was supposed to be a speech by Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, who spoke here earlier, at King's College London. This was going to be a speech about Ayn Rand, about free market economics, and myself and about 100 or so other people were waiting in the lobby area of the campus to get in to see Sargon speak. And at that point, the university said, well, we're not letting you in. And the reason they gave was security reasons. And I was sort of, well, why is this? And then I saw why it was, because a group of a dozen masked thugs in black, wearing masks with flares, literally rushed in, jumped the barrier, there's a tussle with the security guards, and then made their way into the lecture theatre. And then they set off the fire alarm, so basically disrupting the whole building, not just, they punched Sargon in the face as well. And I realised at that point, free speech is under threat in this country. It's under threat from Antifa, from the far left, but perhaps more worryingly, it's under threat by the government, by the state, and our concerns, furthermore, not being listened to. We've seen within the last couple of months, again, journalists, for example, Lawrence Southern, a journalist from the United States who's going to come here to interview Tommy Robinson, being barred from entering the UK using the Prevention from Terrorism Act 2000. So legislation that was designed to prevent terrorism has been used to prevent a journalist from entering this country. I cannot underscore how serious the situation is and the complete unprecedented nature of the threat to free speech that we currently have in this country. We must continue to protest and make our voices heard. We must all write to our MPs to make it very clear to them that this is something that a lot of older people do incidentally write to their MPs, but it's very important because if you're a voter in a constituency and you write to your MP has to respond to you. They have to listen to you. And they should take note what you're saying. So that's what I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say is that Helen Dale, who's a writer for The Spectator, who spoke here just a while ago, and I was very glad to see a female face come up and speak here as well, mentioned section 127 1A of the Communications Act 2003, a particularly nefarious piece of legislation brought under the Tony Blair government that effectively criminalises any thing that is deemed offensive online. And of course this is a subjective test, so whatever the victim feels is offensive can then be pursued by the police. That is an egregious situation. There is no objective test. But another piece of legislation I want to bring to your attention is the Religious and Racial Hatred Act 2006. And the Religious and Racial Hatred Act 2006 brought in a new section to the Public Order Act 1986. And this is section 29. Section 29, the reason I'm bringing this up is that there's an inherent contradiction in the legislation there. Under section 29J, we all have the right in this country, expressly under the legislation, if we so wish, to criticise, ridicule, express dislike and abuse. They use these 4 words: criticise, ridicule, abuse and express dislike of religion or adherence to that religion. We have that right. It's very important that we're all aware we have that right. But that provision is preceded by another provision which says, also in section 29, that says it is prohibited and penalised in this country to stir up racial hatred. Well, how do you reconcile the two? This is terrible legislation. It's appallingly drafted, and it needs to be reconsidered, just as the Communications Act 2003 needs to be reconsidered. Because at the moment, we're in a situation where I think even the police, even those who are supposed to be upholding the law, are not entirely sure what the law states, and that is a terrible situation. So we need to uphold free speech here, but we also need to ensure that there's more clarity in the law. And I say that as someone who practices law. Thank you very much.